Asmon pulled another W with this one. Kids are learning about taxes, and they are pissed. So much for the eat the rich. They are the rich now. Are we finally having the tide turn of all these idiots who thought that communism would be a good idea? They get their first minimum wage paycheck, and they realize how much is being stolen from them already, so if they make more money, that's just going to exponentially get worse.
My dad just called me and said that I owe $480 from my tax return because apparently if I just had $10 more taken out of my check every single week, then I wouldn't owe anything at all. And I said, what?
Surprise.
What? I owe money for working? I owe money for working because, yeah. And also, Dad, that sounds like a scam. You were telling
Does she not understand that the having it taken out of her paycheck is the same exact thing as her paying for it at the end of the year if it wasn't taken out of her paycheck? Like, just because you don't notice the lack of money because it's being taken out incrementally doesn't mean that it's not still being stolen from you.
Me that if only $10 more every week came out, then I wouldn't owe the $480? How was I supposed to know that? First of all, how am I supposed to know that? Second of all, how do I control that? And why is
this is why they don't teach you about taxes in school, because they want you to think that taxes are a good thing that you're paying into, and that you should want more people to pay more taxes because good.
That's a thing. How do you tell your employer, oh, take $10 more out of my paycheck every week so that I don't owe money when my tax return is done? What? This
Man. Man. Welcome to reality, kid. Yep, that's right. They don't teach it in school. Yeah, but I bet she knows what the powerhouse of a cell is.
is strange.
I don't remember what a powerhouse of the cell is.
Something ain't right, and damn it, it's time that we find out.
At this point, paying taxes is like a rite of passage into adulthood. You truly don't understand anything about the world until you have to pay bills and pay taxes. It's funny because I got a younger sister that's in Gen Z, and she was all for raising taxes, free health care, student loan forgiveness, and as soon as she seen that money taken out her first check, that opinion started to change.
That's what happened too whenever they had the COVID stimulus money. Is that everybody was gung-ho, oh, let's give these people money, let's let them, you know, let's make it to where they don't have to struggle, like, oh, well, we don't want to let that happen to them. And then whenever Taco Bell was closed, people are like, listen, hey, yo, you're gonna have to work, all right? Like, I didn't mean it like that. Like, you gotta look, man. We can't just be giving you money. Like, you gotta work. Remember that?
Explain to her the more
during
money
COVID?
you make, the more money is gonna be taken out, and out of that money that's taken out, almost none of it's going to what you want it to go to.
Right.
In fact, some of it's going to an entirely different country because our government's proved to be incompetent.
Thank God.
She got a better understanding of what it means.
Thank God. I tell you one fucking fact is that you think that's not what's going to happen. You think the money's not going to other countries? Then tell me why the highest tier of detectry of the tank is one from Israel in War Thunder. Why is it that the highest, most advanced tech tree in War Thunder, the tank is from Israel?
Asmon, you can't be noticing that much. You need to stop. Your handlers, they're gonna get mad at you.
Ain't that crazy?
Being American. Yeah, socialism is an easier concept to stomach when you're a kid and you're used to your parents just giving you free stuff. But as soon as you got to start working for that stuff, you understand the actual value of it. This is a real example of taxes.
Damn.
Taxes. How much do I owe? You get to figure that out.
Right.
Can I just pay what I want? No, we know exactly how much you owe, but you have to guess the number too.
I think that's the worst part. Like, why do you make me guess and estimate when you can just tell me what the fucking number is? You pieces of shit. Before, in the revolution, chat, when we take back this country, the first thing that needs to be burnt to the ground in Roblox is the IRS.
But what if I guess wrong? Jail.
I
can't eat.
Oh.
I'm broke, nigga. I'm broke. I don't think there's any.
That's fine. If Asmongold lets it play, it's fine.
You fuck up your taxes. I fucked up my taxes before. I didn't go to jail. They just send you a letter. They say you need to pay the rest of the money. Yeah, you only go to jail if you do it on purpose. You do it a lot. Like that's really what it.
I was also told, right? Like I told you guys that this year I'm paying incrementally on my taxes. So instead of paying a lump sum of like $35,000 like I did at the beginning of this year for last year's taxes, quarterly I'm paying a part of taxes. So I'm giving like 5 point something K, I can't remember, every quarter. And at the end of the year, they'll either be like, oh, okay, you paid enough, or you actually owe us even more. Yes, 1,000 is what I said. 35,000 is how much I paid in taxes last year. Every quarter, except it's actually every 3 months, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. Yeah, it's kind of fucked. And if you miss the day, right, even though you're paying your taxes early, if you miss paying in the quarter that your coupon is for, they can issue you a penalty for not paying your early taxes on time. That is just absolutely fucked. That is the most like, I'm paying you early. Why are you penalizing me? Peak IRS. 35K is double what you live on. Yeah, I almost vomited when I found out that the amount I had to pay in taxes was more than what some people make in a year. And when you learn what the amount of money I was taxed on, had that 35K come out of it for taxes, you begin to realize just how fucking poor everyone is and just how retarded all of these people that advocate for any kind of socialism are. Like, my gross was well under 100K. So it's like, I wasn't even making 6 figures and I was getting taxed 35,000. As taxes go up, the wage does not. Yeah. People that make 35K also pay 35K in taxes. Yeah. I'm guessing a lot of that income was the donathon, but 35. Yeah, a lot of it was the donathon. You are correct. That's like a 50% tax. I'm pretty sure when I was talking about it and I was actually paying it, it was around 42% or something like that. It was actually insane. It feels very bad. It's nearly half of your earnings. Yeah, I was fucking pissed. You can't wait to see the taxes after this year. I'm imagining this year might be lower, maybe? Because I have a different CPA I'm working with, and he seems like he's going to do a good job getting me the most deductible possible. And if I manage to find a house that I want to live in, I'll have more deductible. Because apparently I can deduct part of my mortgage as well as part of my house in general that I'm going to be using as an office. The last CPA pissed you off. Yeah, I'm glad that he seems to have ghosted me at this point, so. It's also because I was filing as self-employed, though. Yes, I was filing as self-employed. If you are a streamer and you're making anywhere near what I do, I would say even if you make like half of what I do, you should incorporate. You absolutely incorporate because you'll end up paying less taxes. Fuck them, you're dumping their tea into the ocean, right? And you want to move to Massachusetts? New Hampshire would be better, in theory. Nightmare, they give the $2. The IRS is the largest state-sponsored terror organization. True. My hold up with where I want to live is, like, I need to find somewhere where I can... Sorry to hear about like, your pussy. Weigh all of the different taxes between Mass and New Hampshire. Because I don't know off the top of my head what all of the different taxes are. However, from the CPA that I talked to recently, he was saying, while Massachusetts has a 5% flat income tax, I would be taxed on my entire income, so I wouldn't have to pay 5 on my, my income that I pay to myself from my company. I would just pay 5% on the total from the company. And then in New Hampshire, I would have to pay 7%, which is higher than 5, actually, because while New Hampshire doesn't have a personal income tax, they do have a business income tax. So if I'm paying 5% on everything in Massachusetts, but 7% on only business in New Hampshire, I'm still paying more in New Hampshire than I would be in Massachusetts. But since that's only income tax, is that 2% worth it, or is it negligible? I would have to see what all the other taxes are. States without income tax: Alaska, Florida, Nevada, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Washington, and Wyoming. You forgot New Hampshire. You can tell for a fact property taxes are way higher if you're planning on buying a house or land. Actually, from what I've been seeing, New Hampshire and Massachusetts property taxes are pretty equivalent at this point. I had also always heard New Hampshire property tax was way higher. Doesn't really seem like it. Doesn't seem like it at all. I wonder what the taxes would be if incorporated in Mass and live in New Hampshire. That's what I was wondering, right? Like, I asked, like, you know, because people incorporate in Delaware and whatnot, and he's like, oh, well, that wouldn't really matter for you. You can just incorporate where you live. But it's like, if I'm looking to get the most tax benefit, wouldn't I want to incorporate in a state that had, like, the lowest business taxes instead of just incorporating where I live? So I guess I'd have to figure that out somehow. Are less visible, but consider if your employer weren't paying their half of the taxes, they could afford to give you that money. Fuck New England, though. Who wants to deal with all that snow? Me! I have woman privilege! I've never had to shovel snow in my life, and that will continue into my old age.
Fox that you don't even know that well?
New Hampshire doesn't have sales tax. Massachusetts double dips. Depending on how much shit you buy, you're probably coming out ahead in New Hampshire. Even taking into consideration the sales tax, if I live in the North Shore of Massachusetts, the sales tax is negligible. Because I can just drive 5 minutes and shop in New Hampshire. It would only be an issue if I was living, like, away from the New Hampshire border. Estimates don't factor in homestead value exemptions into property tax comparisons. Florida seems somewhat high, but they have one of the largest homestead exemptions that makes actual prop taxes much lower. See, like, I wish I had somebody that knew more about this kind of shit to, like, help guide me. Most socialists are college age because they don't make enough money to pay into the system. Yeah, it's real unfortunate. And politicians are like, we should lower the voting age. We want more low information voters because college kids aren't low information enough.